Today's show is brought to you by Bruce Fine Construction. If you can't find the house to buy, maybe it's time to build your house. Bruce built my home, and I know he can build your home too. Check him out today at brucefineconstruction.com or call at 570-362-1185. Today's episode is brought to you by Pillar to Post Home Inspectors. Don't buy a home without getting it inspected. You need to use a home inspector you can trust, and that's why I recommend Eric Rubin at Pillar to Post Home Inspectors. If you're buying a home, call the Rubin team today at 570-438-1010. This episode is brought to you today by Whitehall Mortgage. Where there's a will, there's a Whitehall. Buying a home starts by getting a pre-approval, and nobody does it better than Doug in Dallas. Call them today at 570-562-7505 or apply online at whitehallmortgagefinancial.com. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Wychuck. I'm the host of the Real Estate Right Now podcast, and today I'm going to talk about a subject that has the potential, I think, to get some people upset or to get some people arguing amongst themselves. And look, that's not the goal here, right? But today what I'm going to talk about is the difference between selling your house with a realtor and selling your house to a wholesaler. Now, a lot of people may not know what the difference is between a realtor and a wholesaler. And let me first start by saying this. If you do wholesaling the right way, it's 100% legal. There's nothing wrong with being a wholesaler. Now, but there is a key, there are some key differences between realtors and wholesalers, right? So the number one thing is that realtors are licensed and they have a fiduciary responsibility to their clients, which means they have to put their clients' best interests in front of their own. Now, wholesalers, they don't have a fiduciary responsibility, and technically, if you sell your house to a wholesaler, you're not a client of theirs. It's just a business transaction. So that's one thing that makes them different. Now, there are times, I know what you're thinking, right? Because I'm a real estate broker. You think I'm going to come here and I'm going to bash wholesaling. And I'm not going to do that. But I do want to point out what the differences are. But I'll start by saying sometimes selling to a wholesaler, it can be helpful to the seller. It can. Maybe they're looking for a quick sale. Maybe they're looking to just unload a property that might need more work and be above the scope of their ability, and they're just looking for a way out. And in that case, maybe working with a wholesaler makes a lot of sense. But just like I say, when you're going to list your house with a realtor, you should interview multiple realtors to figure out who you think is going to do the best job for you. I don't think you should sell your house to a wholesaler without talking to a realtor first. Just look, knowing your options in life is never a bad thing. And it's never a bad thing in real estate. If you talk to a wholesaler and what they're saying sounds attractive, and you talk to a realtor, and after talking with that realtor, you think, I'm going to wholesale this house, go for it. Do it. Power to you. But if you talk to the realtor and you have some reservations, now maybe you have to do a little bit more digging and try to understand exactly where you are. Now, one thing wholesalers do, they promise a quick and easy sale. That isn't always the case, right? There are some people who have the ability to buy these houses for cash, and they have the ability to do a quick sale. But there are other, just like realtors, by the way, there are some great realtors out there, and there's some that need to improve. Well, the same thing can be said about wholesalers. There's some wholesalers out there that do a really nice job, and there's some other people out there that call themselves wholesalers simply because they don't have enough money to buy the house themselves. Now, they simply, what they want to do, you say, well, geez, Dave, they don't want to buy the house themselves. What does that mean? What they want to do is they want to get a house under contract and then sell that contract to an end buyer at a higher price point and keep the difference. That's the goal of a wholesaler. So in order for wholesaling to work, they need to purchase houses at a discount. It's what they have to do. And that's why I say I think it's a really good idea to talk to a realtor first. So think about it. If you have a house that's worth $200,000, a wholesaler may come to you and say, look, I can buy this house today, right now, as it stands. You don't have to cut another blade of grass. You don't have to paint it. You don't do anything. I can buy it right now for $150,000. And for some people, that may sound pretty attractive, and it might be right for some people. And that's why wholesalers are here. We do know that people sell their houses to wholesalers all the time. But if that's what they're offering, why I think it's a good idea to talk to a realtor first is that realtor may come in and say, look, I think this house is worth $200,000. And if we listed it, if we put it on the market for $150,000, let the market take it where it's going to go. Sometimes we see underpriced homes. It gets really competitive. They have multiple offers and they sell for significantly over asking price. So you might want to talk to a realtor and say, look, as opposed to selling it to a wholesaler, let me put it on the market for $150,000 and see where it goes, right? Because in today's world, if you put a $150,000 house that's really worth $200,000 on the market, you could very easily end up with, maybe $200,000. But let's say you don't even end up with that. Maybe you end up with $180,000. Even after you pay a commission, if you sold that house for $180,000 at 6% commission, you're still netting over $169,000. Now look, that's $19,000 more than if you sold it to a wholesaler for $150,000. I don't know about you, but to me, $19,000 is a lot of money. Now, it doesn't always work that way though, right? Sometimes realtors will list the house and they can't sell it for more money. That's why I think it's so important to weigh the pros and cons of each situation. I just don't, sometimes I talk to people who sell their houses to wholesalers and they don't always have a great feeling about it at the end. Look, that happens sometimes when you sell a house with a realtor too. But sometimes people say, the biggest complaint I know that I hear when people sell their house to a wholesaler is they go, Dave, I didn't really understand all my options. I didn't really understand the process completely. And I feel like I may have been taken advantage of a little bit. And nobody wants to feel that way. They just don't. So that's why I think it's important to at least understand your options. Talk to a wholesaler. That's fine. Talk to a realtor. Make an informed decision. Maybe it's listing with a realtor, maybe it's selling to a wholesaler, but at least that way you feel like you've done your due diligence and you made a choice that's in your own best interest. Now, here's one thing where I do feel pretty strongly about. I think you can be a great wholesaler and I think you can be a great realtor, but I definitely don't think you can do both. Now, as a realtor, I think you can buy and sell properties. I have no problem with that. I think you can fix and flip properties. I have no problem with that. But again, this is just my personal opinion. You're welcome to feel differently. But my personal opinion, wholesaling as a realtor, it feels wrong. It feels wrong to me to do it. Now, that's why I don't do it. And I know there's probably realtors out there that do, and they disagree and they say I'm doing great with it, and that's fine. You're not doing anything illegal. You're not doing anything wrong, but we all make choices. And again, like I said, that's the same reason why I say talk to a wholesaler, talk to a realtor, make an informed decision. I understand the game and I make the decision to do it the way I do it, but that's what works for me. It doesn't always work for you. Again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it isn't for me, but there is a difference between selling with a realtor and selling to a wholesaler. And if you're someone who has a property to sell, just the same way as I said, if you're going to list your house with a realtor, interview multiple realtors before you pick one. If you're going to talk to a wholesaler, I also think you should talk to a realtor. And you should understand in both cases what a likely scenario would be. And then you can make an informed decision to avoid regret, to make as much money as you possibly can, and to come up with an outcome that you feel good about. And at the end of the day, if you are a ethical realtor and an ethical wholesaler, you should want that same exact thing for the people that you're working with. Thanks for joining us for today's episode, everybody. If you want to hear more content, follow us at Real Estate Right Now Pod on YouTube. Once you're there, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. And if you want to follow me directly, check me out. It's Dave Wychak at Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, all the socials that you're already using.